How to use JMeter. So in this JMeter beginners tutorial series, we would be learning about the different things we can do with JMeter and how we can use it, right? So let us just quickly start. Now this is a JMeter window. Now here you can see that there are a lot of things listed. For example, this thing. This is a bar which tells us about few things that what we can do with it. So new button, then templates button, then open, save, cut, copy, paste, plus, minus. Plus is for expanding all the components listed over here. Minus is for say shrinking everything what's expanded. Then toggle button which enables or disables the items. So let us just quickly start with this and the main things we use in JMeter. And this would allow you to say understand more of the things in these series, right? So in this video series, let us just start with this. So what is test plan? So this would be the first question in your mind. I've highlighted this as well. Test plan is the idea of the execution, right? Whatever the scenario you have, it would be stored over here, right? In test plan, we can add multiple things. For example, threads, config elements, listeners, timers, preprocessors, post-processors, assertions, test fragment, and non-test elements. So there are a lot of things actually. First of all, let us just discuss about thread group, right? So threads, as the name says, users. So thread group means that virtual user group, right? So we can have multiple users the way we need them to be. For example, say I'm having this thread group. Here I can specify the number of users that I need, right? There are other things that as well. For example, ramp up time. This is the time in which is required to start the users, and the loop count, how many times the same thing needs to be executed in this particular thread group. This means that how many times the same scenario needs to be executed by the same user. Now you might be having a question in your mind, what is scenario? For example, we go to a website, right? In browser, say I'm using Firefox and I'm going to google.com and then amazon.in and some other website, right? So we would be specifying the thing that you should do this, repeat the same thing again and again for say 2 times or 3 times or 4 times, right? We can specify that in the count over here. So the same thing would be executed for that user again and again, right? Now, coming back to this, so here we have added thread group. Now we can add other things as well. For example, a sampler. Now sampler is the most important part of this, say, test plan. Why? Because whenever you have to send a request, whenever you have to generate a request, so you need a sampler to be there. You can have multiple samplers as well, right? So in this thread group, you need to add a sampler to execute something, to have a scenario, to run a scenario, you need a sampler. Now in this scenario sampler, it asks us for many things. Now we can provide the data manually as well. We can provide the data automatically as well. There are other ways that you would be learning in this video series, right? We would be going with the manual thing, right? So first of all, the protocol, HTTPS, right? So you can provide the protocol. So as I've provided HTTPS protocol, so I need to provide the default port number as well, that is 443. Now for example, I would want to go to a website that is www.amazon.com, right? So I can name the sampler as Amazon US, right? So it would be taking me to this particular website. I've provided few details, for example, the protocol, the server name and the port number. Even if I don't specify the protocol and port number, this would work because the default values would be provided. The default value is HTTP and the port number is 80, which is the default port number for HTTP protocol, right? Now I've added one sampler. Let me just add more samplers as well. As I told you earlier, we can have multiple samplers. So say this is Google India, right? So what things I can provide? For example, I can provide the protocol. So it is again HTTPS. Then the server name. So that is www.google.co.in. right? And the port number. So the port number is say 443 once again, which is the default port number for HTTPS, right? So we have provided these two things. Now in the same way we can have multiple samplers. It doesn't matter how many samplers we are adding. Samplers just show us that, say we are sending in request to the browser for this for something, we are just requesting a page, right? Now you can have multiple types of samplers as well. These are the samplers listed, but right now all we need is a HTTP request sampler which allows us to send a HTTP request. So suppose after I opened google.com, I would want to search for something in google.com. I can do that as well. So say Google search, right? Now over here the protocol would be HTTPS. The server name is www.google.co.in. The port number is 443, which is the default detail which we provided earlier as well, right? Now what additional details we would be providing? So if you notice, whenever you open google.com and I search for something, it takes us to a page whose path is this, that is search, right? Now in the search we provide some data as well. So if I add some data, so I can click on this add button. I can provide a parameter. Say there is a parameter q which has the data, that is JMeter, right? So it would be searching for JMeter. Now these three things are done. Now whenever you need to execute this test, you need to provide something, you need to see the results, right? You can execute it right away as well, but you need to see the results. So in that case what you can do is that you can add a listener. Listener would allow you to listen, see the results. It listens to the request generated by the thread group and the sampler, and it shows you the results for that sampler as well, right? So if I execute this test now, it is asking me to save this test plan. So we can save this test plan as well. Say I would name this as how to use JMeter, right? And I'll save this, and now it would start executing, and you can see that there are three different samplers which are executed: Amazon US, Google India, and Google search. Now if you move to the response data, you would notice that these are some results as well, but right now it is some text that we are not able to understand. So we can choose the option as well, that is HTML. It would show us something which we would be able to see and understand. For example, this page. So this is an Amazon page which is loaded in a scattered way, but yes, this is the page. Then Google India, which is less scattered, and you can see that these are the things that is showing. And then the Google search. So we were looking for JMeter, so it is showing us the results for JMeter, right? Load runner, Selenium, SoapUI, JUnit. So these are the results, right? Whenever you look for JMeter, these would be the things that you would be able to see on the page, right? It is a bit scattered, you can ignore it, but yes, you can see the same things. You have the another option as well, that is HTML download resources, and this would be more, say, specific. It would look more, say, optimized. Again, it would be scattered, but not that much the way we used to see earlier, right? Now with the help of these things, with the help of the say by using these things, you would be able to start using JMeter, right? All you need to do is that you need to make some permutations and combinations. You need to provide the data over here in samplers, right? You need to sequence the samplers accordingly. The thing is that this is the first sampler, so it would be executed first. After this, it would be executed, and in the end, this would be executed as this is the last one. So first, second, and third. This would be the pattern every time we would be executing it. We can have multiple users as well. For example, I would want to have 5 users. So all the 5 users would be executing the same scenario, and the same sampler would be executed 5 times. You can see that Amazon US has been executed once, twice, thrice, 4 times, and 5th time. So every time it is executing, and the same things you would be able to see on this, right? So this is how you can say open things in JMeter, or you can request pages in JMeter, you can request websites in JMeter, you can request the data as well, right? The page looks something like this, and you can see that these are the things which are getting loaded, right? So this is how you can start working with JMeter, and this is how you can use JMeter. You need to watch other videos in this series as well to make sure that you are going in the correct direction, right? So thank you.